Welcome to JGTCR. I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the Ferrari 365 GTB4. Let's get into it. In factory trim, this Ferrari is much more slide happy than it has any business being. It's a slippery and sloppy affair that goes just a bit too far to be fun. The handling is a touch too loose, and it can be a frustrating task to control, as it skims the road surface while driving, but digs in quite heavily when turning or braking. The steering can be reasonable, but it becomes dull at extremes. This can leave us feeling like we need to hold back to maintain control. And that just ain't racing. The power isn't all that great, however, it runs through the revs well without feeling sluggish. The power delivery somehow manages to fry the tires quite a lot. It feels too exaggerated. However, some throttle modulation does work wonders. The brakes are okay for slowing us down, but the spongy suspension can dig in and understeer us right off the road, so use caution under heavy brakes. Let's collect our time. Seven minutes, 49.5 seconds. And now, the race tune. The tail end of this Ferrari was erratic, snappy, and aggressive, so the majority of our tune time was spent nullifying the tail end. Let's hit the track. The bad news is that the rear end of this Ferrari is incredibly slide happy. The good news is that we have plenty of front end steering we can sacrifice for traction while tuning. The handling is still a bit fast and loose. It can float a bit at times, however, it is much better overall. The steering certainly is a bit lazy, and it is also understeerish at times. However, having rear-end traction makes us feel a hell of a lot better about how this Ferrari steers. The power is only up a couple of hundred horsepower, but makes a big difference to how the car moves on circuit. The power delivery is atrocious. The wheel spin has been minimized, but it still plagues our existence on throttle. Some good throttle modulation is needed in the lower three gears, and we will have some episodes in 4th and 5th. So stay frosty out there because it's going to get slippery. The brakes aren't great. They still like to plow in straight lines, and they take quite some time to come into effect, so plan accordingly. Let's collect our time. Six minutes, 27.9 seconds. Moving on to the drift tune. The drift tune for the 365 was quite unorthodox. This is reflected in the amount of ballast and the differential settings. But we do's what we gots to do's to get the job done. Let's drift Suzuka. Considering this Ferrari is front engine rear wheel drive, it drifts like absolute crapiola. The balance and setup is so bad we had to max out ballast and nerf the living end out of the differential to get it to drift in any way, shape or form. The handling can be reasonable, but the tail end is still prone to coming right the way round on us. The steering is generally fine in drift conditions, but when the tail takes over, there is nothing we can do but sit back and enjoy the ride. The power available is quite reasonable. However, it can't make up its mind if it's peaky in nature or not. This can leave us second guessing our approach as we peak out or bog down on entry. The power delivery is messy. It's a fine line between holding a decent drift and having the tail end come around on us. At the end of the day, the Ferrari 365 drifts, just not well. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!